From the stealing of the land of our country from the Native American people, to the enslavement of millions of people stolen from Africa, from the conquering of foreign lands and the bleeding of our own workers, to the brutality of today's mass unemployment, homelessness, and poverty, capitalism is not and has never been just humane or civilized. It is this class struggle between oppressor and oppressed that gave rise to the Communist Party, a party of action. For over 75 years, this fighting organization has been a powerful weapon in the hands of the working class.
The rich have pushed capitalism to the brink, and after 500 years, capitalism hasn't solved any basic needs of the people. The solution has got to be a socialist system.
We initiate struggles, we organize struggles, and we lead struggles, and we have been doing it for 75 years now.
The history of this country is full of revolution, so I think the American people have a long revolutionary tradition.
The working class has to be the group, the class that fights for socialism, because we're the ones who make the country run.
And what happens at the end of the day? They get only a little bit, in a sense, of what they produced, and the capitalist gets everything else.
Capitalism is a very insane and unjust system, and therefore doing away with it is a rather a simple, common kind of a task of people getting together and taking over the industry and operating them for their own good.
The only thing that we have is our unity and our organization. And racism and sexism are two very powerful weapons of the ruling class that is used to divide working people.
We're all people. We should all be united and be able to work together and stay together because we need one another. We really do.
The color of racism is not between black and white or brown or Asian, but that color is green, and that's out to make a buck.
The ruling class is making bigger profits, and as a matter of fact, it's $120 billion a year from that wage differential. Same thing with men and women.
Part of the problem is the capitalist state, it makes a double standard. It says to us as women, you know, you're not a real woman unless you stay home and take care of your kids, right? But if you try to stay home and take care of your kids, then you're, you know, a quote welfare bitch, right? Living off the fat of taxpayers.
What's a bunch of bull? Because how can you possibly raise a child on what? They give you $60 more a month?
Okay.
And for poor women, for women of color, for working class women, this is a major issue. And it's an issue that hasn't been addressed, and it's something that the party has addressed and the party has talked about, that there are these other connections.
So by fighting racism, we're fighting for our future. By fighting sexism, we're fighting for our future, because our future relies on our unity.
Once we realize that we all the same class, instead of same race, or same human race, is cool. But once they found that we're the same class, then capitalism doesn't have a chance.
And the party initiates struggles and movements that challenges the whole concept of what capitalism is.
Monopoly is only in its own interest for greater profits.
Where these transnationals can in fact move or so-called downsize their operations almost overnight.
Not because they're not profitable here, but to enhance their profit, seeking the absolute maximum profit.
Rich keep getting richer and poor keep getting poorer. That's why we have homeless.
The corporations and the wealth is destroying the humanity out here and the human behavior of people. So what does the poor do out here? You got a class struggle and a class war out here.
Mass layoff, so that Clinton can talk all he wants to about adding jobs. Most of them are part-time jobs to start with. But in the meantime, while he's talking about adding jobs, the big corporations are laying off tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
A lot of people have lost confidence in the system completely. And they don't know exactly how to change it. But they do know that the force they were told to fear most has a track record, the communists, in bringing about change and bringing about revolutionary change around the world.
In 1919, with the Industrial Revolution still expanding, the Communist Party was founded.
This is Chicago. This is where the Communist Party USA was founded. Radical workers from all over this country, from the IWW, from the Socialist Party, from the trade union movement, got together here and formed the party that's really transformed this whole nation.
The party grew out of the struggle to organize the steel workers who were locked in open confrontation for their lives.
That already set the stage for the party. And that is that William G. Foster was organizing steelworkers in 1919.
Unthinkable, unheard of, the ruling class worst nightmare.
It was a very militant and a bitter strike, but it was lost.
This perhaps may not appear to be the best atmosphere to found the Communist Party, but it's only when the times are the most difficult, when the situation, to the faint of heart perhaps, seems the most impossible, that a Communist Party can take root and begin to assert itself and organize it.
In 1929, the stock market crashed. American capitalism had plunged into the deep depression of the 1930s. But the solution to this fantastic situation, according to Herbert Hoover, was to wait until economic adjustment. But starving people couldn't wait. The people in power had no answers. But we communists had answers.
We found out through the newspaper, the People's World, that we weren't the cause of the Depression, that the Depression was caused by the capitalists and the bosses.
The party organized union organizations, tenants organizations that worked against evictions. It was grassroots organizing that produced the New Deal. It was the Communist Party that helped draft the bills for unemployment insurance, Social Security, and the Wagner Act, which legalized unionization. We instilled the sense that the government had a responsibility to create jobs, and that masses of people, when they unite, could force the government to do it.
There wouldn't be unemployment insurance or Social Security without the Communist Party. That's a big thing to say, but it's true.